Welcome back to another session of biochemistry classes. So we almost finished with all the topics in protein metabolism. So we'll go on to another topic about protein metabolism, which is commonly asked question in the theory and also a viva versa question. Okay, so the topic for today's class is inborn errors of metabolism, or we also call it as IEM. So, what do you understand by inborn errors of metabolism? It is an inherited enzyme deficiency leading to disruption of the normal metabolism. This leads to either accumulation of the product, or there is impaired formation of the product, and also there is accumulation of certain toxic substrates which will lead to this inborn error of metabolism. Okay, so when we talk about the inborn errors of metabolism, you should also know something which we call it as a Garrot's hypothesis. So a substance A gets converted to B, and this gives rise to a product that is C. Okay, so because there is conversion of A to B and B to C, you require an enzyme that is required for converting the A to B and to the C and to form a product. So whenever there is a deficiency of this particular enzyme, there is deficiency of the product itself, right? So whenever there is increase in the substrate concentration, okay, what happens then? This B gets converted into a toxic metabolite, right? So this is the basis of inborn errors of metabolism, which we call it as a Garrot's hypothesis. So the classification of inborn error of metabolism, we can say it is as related to carbohydrate metabolism, lipid metabolism, amino acid or protein metabolism, and pigment metabolism. So carbohydrate, you know that there are a number of them like the glycogen storage diseases, then you have galactosemia, right? So these are all the carbohydrate metabolism. And the lipid, we can say that is Niemann-Pick's disease, Gaucher's disease, or you can also say Refsum's disease are all lipid metabolism. Okay, the pigment metabolism can be either due to the porphyrias, right? Okay, so we'll go on today to the amino acid metabolism, inborn errors, or we also call it as amino acid ureas. Okay, so amino acid ureas are nothing but disorders in which the urine contains abnormally high amounts of the amino acid that is excreted in the urine. Okay, so what is it? In a healthy kidney, okay, what happens? The glomerular filters all the amino acids of the blood, but the renal tubules reabsorbs over 95% of the filtered amino acids, right? So we can say that amino acids can be of different types. So there are two types of amino acid urea. So we say the first one is a overflow amino acid urea, and then you have the renal amino acid urea, right? So what is overflow amino acid urea? It is inborn errors of amino acid metabolism like the phenyl ketone urea, anything that is secondary to any liver diseases. And then what do you mean by renal amino acid urea? It is defect in the renal tubular reabsorption mechanism. Example you have is cysteine urea. Okay, so this is the two types of amino acid urea. So first we'll go on to the first amino acid urea. First one, PKU, or phenyl ketone urea. So from the metabolism of phenylalanine, we've already studied the metabolism. Phenylalanine, right, from the dietary proteins, phenylalanine is synthesized. What happens? Phenylalanine also helps in the synthesis of certain tissue proteins. Phenylalanine, in the presence of phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme, and it requires tetrahydrobiopterin, gets converted to dihydrobiopterin. It is a reversible reaction, gets converted to tyrosine, and this tyrosine leads to formation of catecholamines, thyroxine, melatonin, serotonin, and all that. Okay, so this is the normal metabolism of phenylalanine. So whenever there is deficiency of phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme, what happens? Phenylalanine doesn't get converted to tyrosine. So excess of this phenylalanine gets converted to phenylpyruvate, phenylactate and phenyl acetate, right? So this is the inborn error in phenylalanine metabolism, which is PKU or phenylketonuria. So what are the clinical features of PKU? First one is mental retardation. The IQ of these patients is around 25 to 30. And there is seizures, tremors, hyperactivity and agitation. And also there is hypopigmentation of the skin and the hair, and because of increased excretion of phenylalanine that gets converted to phenyl acetate, it gives us sweat, excess of sweat, which is musty or mousy odor. Okay, so these are the clinical features of PKU. Now how do you diagnose PKU? We've already done in the other classes. The first one is ferric chloride test, because the phenyl ketones are excreted in the urine. That's around 500 to 3000 milligrams per day, and it is detected by adding few drops of freshly prepared ferric chloride to the urine sample. So a positive test is a transient blue-green color is seen, right? So what is the principle of this ferric chloride test? So the principle is it is done for reduction of the phenol ring, right? So ferrous forms a violet colored complex with a compound containing any phenolic ring. So the reagent used is 10% ferric chloride, which is freshly prepared. Now how do you perform this test? You take a clean test tube, 1 ml of the urine filtrate is taken, and then you add 2 to 3 drops of ferric chloride. A blue violet color, if it is given, it is homogeneous acid, and if it gives a transient blue green color, it is phenylpyruvic acid. So here you can see a blue transient blue green color is present, that is presence of phenylpyruvic acid. Okay, so what are the normal levels of blood? Phenylalanine is around 20 to 65 milligrams per deciliter in PKU patients. The normal levels is around 1 to 2 milligrams per deciliter. So this can be demonstrated by tandem mass spectroscopy, which is the most reliable test. Okay, and then you also have one more test, the Guthries test, which we've already studied. That is the rapid screening test by using Bacillus subtilis bacteria. The bacterial growth is directly proportional to the phenylalanine content in the patient's blood. So how do you do it? You take the heel prick sample and you apply it in the discs or the cards which contains the Bacillus subtilis, and you have an inhibitor, that is beta-2 thiethanol alanine. So whenever there is presence of increased phenylalanine, what happens? The inhibitory action of beta-2 thiethylene is inhibited and Bacillus subtilis grows in proportionately. Okay, so this is the positive test for PKU. Okay, so this is Guthries test. So this is about PKU. Next we'll go on to the other inborn error, that is alkaptonuria. It is a rare autosomal recessive disorder of the tyrosine metabolism. There is deficiency of homogeneous acid oxidase, and the clinical features, you have degenerative arthritis, renal stones formation, and also nephrosis. So how do you diagnose? On long standing, the urine first turns black. Okay, that is the first sign you can see. Then you can do the ferric chloride test, which gives purple black color. And also we all know from the carbohydrate metabolism, the Benedict's test. The Benedict's test gives positive because homogeneous acid is a reducing agent and it gives a brown color. Now, what is the confirmatory test for alkaptonuria? You do the chromatography, spectrophotometry and certain enzyme methods. Now, what are the laboratory tests that can be done? You have the first one is the silver nitrate test. It is reduces homogeneous acid to give an elemental silver, which is brown black in color or black in color. The reagent used is 3% silver nitrite solution. Okay, now how do you perform this test? You take 0.5 ml of the urine in a test tube and add 5 ml of silver nitrate solution. So you get a brown or a black precipitate which is formed rapidly. It is due to the presence of homogenetic acid. So you can see here brown black precipitate is formed. Okay, this is positive for silver nitrate test. So next test is the Benedict's test. You can see here again, this is the normal Benedict test solution. You can see here, this is the other color which changed, that is the brown color, which is positive for homogenetic acid test also. Okay, you can also do ferric chloride test for alkaptonuria, right? So next we'll go on to the other inborn error, that is cystinuria. It is defect in the amino acid transport than a metabolic enzyme deficiency. Normally the amino acids are reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule, but due to certain genetic defect in cystinuria, there are 20 to 30-fold increase in urinary excretion of cysteine. So cysteine is insoluble. It tends to be precipitated in the renal tubules and forms urinary caliculi, and it can be detected by cyanide nitroprusside test. And also you can do ion exchange chromatography, can be used for quantitative analysis of the amino acid in both in the urine and also in the blood or the plasma, right? So how do you perform the cyanide nitroprusside test? We also called as Brad's test. Principle is sodium cyanide is added first to the urine and let it stand for approximately for 10 minutes. Okay, so what happens when it stands? The disulfide bonds will be broken and released cyanide destructs the disulfide bonds, liberated cysteine and cysteine and homocysteine from homocysteine. Now what happens? This sodium nitroprusside is added to the solution and it reacts with the newly formed on free sulfhydryl groups. So the test will turn red or purple if it is positive. Okay. So now what are the reagents that are required for this test is, you require sodium cyanide 5% and sodium nitroprusside 5% solution. How do you perform? You take 3 ml of fresh urine sample taken in a test tube. 1 ml of freshly prepared sodium cyanide solution is added and it is kept for 10 minutes. Okay. Now freshly prepared 5% sodium nitroprusside is added to this drop by drop. So if there is an immediate development of a pink or a magenta purple color, it is due to homocysteine or homocysteine. If there is a slow development of pink or magenta purple color, it is due to cysteine and cysteine. Okay, so you have to get pink or magenta or purple color. So here you can see in this test tube, this is the control, and here it is turned blue or violet or purple color. Okay, so this is positive for Brad's test or cyanide nitroprusside test. Okay, next we'll go on to cystinosis. What is it? It is an autosomal recessive abnormality in transport of cysteine. So the cysteine accumulates in the lysosomes of various organs such as liver, spleen, bone marrow, kidney, etc. And because of this, there is impairment of renal function. So microscopy of the blood shows cysteine crystals in the WBCs. So the treatment for this patient is adequate fluid to increase the urinary output and also alkalinization of the urine. Okay, so the next one, homocystinuria. It is a congenital, acquired, or it can be a nutritional deficiency of vitamins, right? And also it can be due to certain metabolic disorders like hypothyroidism and also chronic kidney diseases. And also it can be due to any drug induced, right? Folate antagonist like vitamin B12 antagonist and pyridoxine antagonist can also lead to homocystinuria. Okay, so when we talk about homocystinuria, it is an autosomal recessive type of group disorders, defect in metabolism of homocysteine and methionine. So, characterized by high plasma and urinary levels of homocysteine and methionine, but very low levels of cysteine. So, what happens here? There is deficiency of vitamin B6 dependent enzyme cystathione beta synthase. Okay. So, there is octopia lentis, that is displacement of the lens of the eye, which is the cardinal sign. Also, along with it, there is skeletal abnormalities, premature arterial disease, osteoporosis, and mental retardation. So, you can see in the flow chart, right? So, what is it? Methyl tetrahydrofolate in the presence of B12 gets converted to tetrahydrofolate, and methionine is given here. So, now methionine donates the methyl group to get converted to homocysteine. Homocysteine in the presence of cystathione beta synthase. Serine is given here in the presence of pyridoxal 5-phosphate, gets converted to cystathione, and cystathione gets converted to cysteine. Okay, so in this condition, there is deficiency of cystathione beta synthase enzyme. Okay, that leads to this disorder. Okay, so there's a tabular column that shows what happens in cystinuria. There is defect in renal absorption, cystinosis, impairment in cystine utilization, homocystinuria type 1, cystathione synthetase is enzyme deficiency, homocystinuria type 2, N5-N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase deficiency is seen. Homocystinuria type 3, you find N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate homocysteine methyl transferase enzyme deficient. Okay, so now what is the treatment for homocystinuria? You give a low diet or containing methionine and rich in cysteine. And in cases of nutritional deficiency, the vitamin supplementations can be given to these patients. Okay, so this is overall looking at amino acid metabolism. So next we'll go on to two tabular columns where you can see all of the amino acid ureas given. So you can have a look at it and see how you can write in your examination, right? So here you can see the disorder itself, then the enzyme deficiency, the clinical features, the amino acids or the metabolites in the urine, laboratory diagnosis, biochemical basis of management in these patients. So first we'll go on to PKU or phenylketonuria. Enzyme deficiency is phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. Clinical feature you get here is mental retardation, hypotonia and seizures. The metabolites that are excreted in the urine are phenylalanine, phenylpyruvate, acetate and lactate. The diagnosis is ferric chloride test and management restriction of phenylalanine in the diet, right? The next is tyrosinemia type 1. It is due to deficiency of fumarate acetoacetate hydroxylase enzyme. What happens here? There is cabbage-like odor, hypoglycemia and mental retardation. The metabolites excreted are tyrosine and its metabolites. Test done for diagnosis is xanthoprotic test or Millen's test. And then what are the restrictions? Diet, a biochemical basis of management, tyrosine and phenylalanine restricted diet should be given. Tyrosinemia type 2, tyrosine aminotransferase enzyme is deficient. There's mental retardation, keratosis of palmar surface, painful corneal lesions and photophobia. What are the metabolites in the urine? You have tyrosine and its metabolites and thyramine is excreted. Test done is xanthoprotic test, Millen's test, and management is diet low in proteins. Then you have tyrosinemia transient neonate. Here there is deficiency of parahydroxyl phenylpyruvate hydroxylase enzyme. Okay, the clinical features are neurological abnormalities. Metabolites that are excreted are tyrosine and its metabolites, and also thyramine is excreted. Test you do is xanthoprotic test and Millen's test. The management is diet low in protein and also vitamin C supplements. Alkaptonuria disorder, homogenetic acid oxidase enzyme is deficient. The clinical features you see is arthritis. Then you have the metabolites excreted in the urine are homogenetic acid. Test to be done is ferric chloride test, blue violet color, and ammonical silver nitrate test is done. Restriction of phenylalanine in the diet, tyrosine also restriction, and also giving vitamin C as supplements. Okay, so then you have another set of inborn errors, that is Harpner's disease, defective reabsorption of tryptophan from the renal tubules. Clinical features are dermatitis and ataxia. Metabolite excreted are tryptophan. The test, xanthoprotic test and Hopkins-Coles test. The biochemical management is high protein diet and niacin supplement. Then you have arginemia due to deficiency of arginase enzyme. The clinical features are spastic diplegia. Okay, the metabolites that are excreted are arginine, cysteine, and ornithine. Tests to be done are Sakaguchi test, and also treatment is low protein diet. Then you have histidemia. It is due to histidinase enzyme. The clinical features are mental retardation and speech defect. Metabolites excreted in the urine are histidine and its metabolites. Test, polydiazole test is done, and the management is restrict histidine. Cystinuria is defective reabsorption of lysine, ornithine, arginine, cysteine from the renal tubules. Clinical features are severe pain in the back, nausea, vomiting, and hematuria. Metabolites excreted in the urine are lysine, ornithine, arginine, and cysteine. Test done is lead acetate test, nitroprusside test, and management is increased fluid intake. Homocystinuria, it is due to deficiency of cystathione beta synthase enzyme. Mental retardation is a clinical feature, and the metabolite excreted in the urine is homocysteine. Test is cyanide nitroprusside test, or also we call it as Brad's test. Supplement management is by giving folate. And then you have the last one is a maple syrup urine disease or MSUDs. It is due to branch chain keto acids. Okay, what is the clinical features? Mental retardation, maple syrup odor, and acidosis is seen. So what are the metabolites excreted in the urine? All the branch chain amino acids and their keto acids. You have the test that is done is Rothera's test is positive. And then what is the management? By giving restrictive branch chain amino acid, and supplementation is given in these patients. Okay, so this is a brief description about the amino acid ureas, right? So this is a complete look at the protein metabolism. Okay, so now since we've completed with protein metabolism, the next thing is assignments will be given in this class also. So this assignment we're giving for both protein metabolism and also the nucleic acid chemistry. These topics will be taken in the subsequent classes, right? So you can please copy down these questions and get it during the whenever you get back to college, right? So assignment in protein metabolism and nucleic acid chemistry. So you'll have long notes and short essays, right, with this, and also certain case reports. This is the long note. To name the aromatic amino acids, discuss in detail the metabolism of essential aromatic amino acids, add a note on the inherited disorder associated with essential aromatic amino acid. The same thing, long note for the sulfur containing amino acid, and discuss in detail the metabolism of neutral optically inactive amino acid. Discuss in detail the formation and fate of ammonia in the body. So these are the long essays. Then you have the short essays. So you have a case report, right? Okay, a 10-day-old neonate was brought to the hospital with complaints of feeding intolerance, emesis. strong body odor, and convulsions. Laboratory tests revealed elevated serum ammonia and citrulline with no acidosis. Based on the presentation and laboratory evaluation, the doctor advised arginine for treatment, following which the baby's condition improved. So, mention the diagnosis with defective enzyme, explain the biochemical basis for the treatment given, write the steps of the pathway implicated, right? Next, you have compounds synthesized from glycine and their significance. Compounds synthesized from tryptophan. Discuss in detail compounds synthesized from tyrosine, metabolic functions of cysteine, synthesis of creatinine and its significance, right? Discuss polyamines in detail. What is nitric oxide? How it is synthesized? Write in detail isoforms of nitric oxide. What are the beneficial and harmful effects of nitric oxide? Catabolism of branch chain amino acids. Okay, so this is short essay. Next, you have a case report. A 2-week-old infant with refusal to feed, lethargy, excessive cry, and irritability tested positive for ferric chloride test on genetic screening for inborn errors of metabolism. Laboratory findings reveal serum phenylalanine concentration is 30 milligrams per deciliter, serum tyrosine 2 milligrams per deciliter, and urine positive for phenyl ketones. Ferric chloride is positive, test is positive. Write the diagnosis, name the enzyme deficiency, what is the cause for the mousy odor of urine, what is the treatment for this patient, right? I think all this we've already discussed, right? So next you have another case report. A mother admitted her child to the hospital with complaints of the diaper used for the child stained black. Blackening of urine was observed on exposure. Laboratory findings revealed positive Benedict's test, glucose oxidase test was negative, ferric chloride test positive, and silver nitrate test is positive. What is the probable diagnosis? What is the biochemical defect? What are the complications of this disorder? Right? The next question is SAM and its importance. Right? Okay, next you have another case report. This is a little elaborate for you to write down. Okay, a 4-year-old boy had sudden fits and admitted to the hospital. The past medical history normal except for mild fits. On examination, mild weakness of the muscles of the left side of the face, left arm, and leg. Tentative diagnosis cerebrovascular accident involving the right cerebral hemisphere downwards, dislocation of the lens of both the eyes. Neurologist noted a waddling gait, which mother said began few years earlier and was progressive with time. CT, a small infarct in the right cerebral hemisphere, a damaged area caused by temporal or permanent loss of blood loss. X-ray shows the signs of osteoporosis. Laboratory findings reveals increased methionine and homocysteine in the blood and decreased cysteine in the blood. The serum B12 and folate levels are normal and there is an increased homocysteine in urine. So what is the probable diagnosis? What is the biochemical defect? What are the causes of homocystinuria? Suggest test for the diagnosis of cystathione beta synthase in this patient. Okay, so most of these questions we've already discussed, right? So next you have another case report. A 1-week-old infant presented with vomiting, convulsions, and dehydration. His mother also complained that the baby was passing urine which smelled like burnt sugar. The laboratory findings reveals blood pH 7.33, bicarbonates 12 millimoles per liter, urine ketone bodies present. What is the probable diagnosis? What is the enzyme deficient? How will you differentiate this disorder with diabetic ketoacidosis? Mention the spot test for the diagnosis of this disorder. Okay, this is one case report. There's another one. A 2-month-old baby girl was brought by her parents for consultation. She had pale skin, blonde hair, and pink iris. The baby girl was otherwise healthy, feeding well, but was unable to fix the gaze. Parents revealed that their first two children, a boy and a girl, had complete albinism, but the parents themselves were normal. The eye examination of the child showed absence of pigment in the retina. What is the probable diagnosis? What is the biochemical abnormality of this disease? This case report also we have already discussed in the previous classes, right? Next, you have another case report. A 21-year-old man admitted to the casualty with history of severe pain in his right side of the abdomen and back and not passing urine since overnight. On examination, this tendon is positive over the right lower quadrant of the abdomen. Cysteine, arginine, and lysine excretion is seen in the urine. What is the probable diagnosis? What is the cause of increased excretion of cysteine, arginine, and lysine? What is the cause of kidney stones? Okay, so this is another case report. Next, you have certain questions, that is transamination and its importance. Okay, there's one more case report. A 3-year-old boy was admitted to the hospital with symptoms of pellagra, mental retardation, and increased excretion of neutral amino acids in the urine. What is the diagnosis? What is the biochemical defect? How will you treat this condition? Okay, then you have another set of questions. What is VMA? What is its normal excretion in the urine? What are the causes of increased VMA in urine? Same thing, what is 5-HIAA? What is the normal excretion in urine? What are the causes of increased 5-HIAA in urine? Catabolic excretory products of tryptophan and how are they detoxified? Okay, then you have next question in protein metabolism, GABA. Okay, so this is about protein metabolism question. So next you have another set of questions pertaining to chemistry of nucleic acid. You have short essays and short answers, right? The first one is explain Watson-Crick model of DNA with a neat diagram, structure of tRNA and its function, structure of mRNA and its function. Short answers mention the different types of RNA and their functions, rRNA, differences between DNA and RNA, differences between mRNA and tRNA, Chargaff's rule. Okay, so these are the assignment question. Please write it and get it whenever you're going to come back to college, right? So this finishes with protein metabolism. So in the next class, we'll go on to another topic in biochemistry. So thank you and have a nice day.